Filmatic. I'm your host, the Film Doctor, and let's talk about movies that are coming soon. This movie is something I don't really know anything about. Okay, I know you hear me say that a lot, but I like to kind of gauge you in terms of what I'm knowledgeable about and what I'm not. And this movie is a crime thriller or a thriller. I can't remember the genre. I know that it falls into thriller. I'm just not sure if it's crime thriller that has a comedian in it. And from my experience, being a comedian, seeing other comedians that end up changing roles as comedic actors and they play a more serious role, it amazes me to see how they do. And as of lately, I would say many of the ones that I've seen that have jumped that boat have been successful, and it shows how versatile they are with their craft instead of honing in on this one particular thing to say that they're good at. So this movie is called Becky. Not Becky with the good hair, but Becky. So I'm interested. It has Kevin James in it. Kevin James, I don't think I've ever seen him in a serious role. So, and it's not to say that a thriller is going to be, he's going to play a serious role. In general, he could have a comedic part or character within it. But knowing that it's a thriller, you don't see too many thrillers that have an abundance of comedy written inside of the script. So I'm anxious to see what it's about and if it looks good. The other actress, some chick, I don't even know who she is. Never heard of her. Not really famous in my eyes. But let's go ahead and check it out. It's called Becky.
What happened by your fort, Becky?
Search continues for 4 inmates who escaped federal custody this morning. Authorities say the men are armed and extremely dangerous.
Come on, boy, let's go swimming.
Oh, can you wait a sec?
What is she doing here?
You let her walk all over you.
She's 13.
Jeff, this gentleman lost his dog.
Okay, well, why don't you give us your number?
My dog is a Rottweiler. Purebred, or as the Germans call them, Rottweiler Metzgerhund. That's why you never let them mate with other breeds. You get the worst of both.
Okay, I think it's time for you to go.
Stay calm. I'm looking for a key. It has this symbol engraved on it. You seen it?
No.
Well, that leaves little Becky. Where's Becky?
Wait!
He's gonna hold your dad still while I hurt him.
I'm not gonna let them get away with this.
Once was a little girl.
Becky!
And she was good.
Stop running!
She was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrid.
What was the point of all of this? For a key?
It's worth much more than that.
Becky! You're clearly a special girl!
I don't want to have to hurt you.
But I do want to hurt you real bad.
That trailer was good, actually. It wasn't bad. It reminds me of like Home Alone, but outside in the woods. I don't know if she's like booby trapped in the woods to try and get rid of this guy that's after her for this key. But it's I don't want to say it's a unique storyline because, like I said, it's almost like Home Alone out in the woods, but it is different. It has its own sense of uniqueness that I think is driven from that same kind of pathway that Home Alone had. The other thing that I like about this is that Kevin James actually was scary. And sometimes it's the acting, sometimes it's the music with the acting. In this case, in terms of the trailer, I would say it's the music with the acting. I think that music, while he's walking around with his gun and trying to intimidate the people that he's, whose house he's in, I think came across as really creepy and eerie, scary. Something that you look at and you say, man, don't mess with this guy. He actually did a really good portrayal of a villain or a criminal. I was at times taken back just by when he talked or how he moved. So I think that I actually kind of want to see it. I'm not going to say that it's going to be great just on the trailer. You guys already know my thoughts on that. But I will say that I definitely want to see it and see what it's worth. So that way I can rate it and give an appropriate rating on if it's good or not. And not just say that the trailer's good. So that's all I have for coming soon. Let's talk about new releases. So, you know, I'm a little late on filming and editing and everything for this episode of Filmatic. And it's because I wasn't watching one movie in order to review for new releases. I chose to review a TV show. Now, it's one of my favorite TV shows. Stranger Things is one of my favorite TV shows on Netflix, but my other favorite TV show on Netflix is 13 Reasons Why. Now, they released season 4 of 13 Reasons Why at the beginning of this weekend, and I was anxious. I had forgot that it was coming out. So I was like, snap, forget a movie, I'm checking this one out for sure. For sure. And it has 10 episodes, which the last prior seasons I think had 13 for all of them. This one had 10 episodes, with the last episode running at about an hour and 40 minutes. I would say, in terms of a review, because I know a lot of people are fans of 13 Reasons Why, so they may be anxious to know, what's this about? Is it going to be good compared to all the other ones? My honest opinion, I rated it at a B-, and I think that that's me actually kind of being generous. There were great things about it, and there were things that I saw as being gripes. The music was average. It was almost like they went in there and created generic music so that they didn't run into copyrighted music, but they did have some copyrighted music, like Her was in there, and I think that song choice was very good, that they had used for one of the scenes. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm trying to make sure I engage myself in terms of what I say and not to spoil anything. The other thing I had a problem with was that the story was all over the place. I think that they went in certain directions and then they just stopped and went in a different direction. And they didn't really clear up the first thing. And it was almost like they were doing so in order to fill that episode so they can go to the next one so they can have 10 episodes. This whole thing didn't need to be 10 episodes. Its focus, though, was on Clay's mental health, which I also had a problem with. I think that, yes, we wanted to know more about Clay, but I think to focus the entire thing around his mental health, you know, him seeing a psychiatrist, him having visions, that whole thing, like when they would see some of the people that have died, and that was kind of my gripe in some of the other ones, it was like they would be talking to them like they're there. And I understand that you can't look at it like that. You have to look at it as, you know, this is what's going on in his head. But I think that there's different ways that they could have portrayed that. It could have been you verbally hear them. But, you know, inside of Hollywood, you got to give one of these people a job. So they have to be on camera. It's no different from when you see the superheroes just always taking off his mask. Like, bro, we don't want to see you take off the mask 2 minutes into the fight just because they have to get that airtime. Okay? I think that was kind of the ordeal. We were always seeing the people that were dead. They were always talking to them. They're looking at them. They're, you know, engaging them in conversation, even when they're near other people. And it's just like nobody's taking notice to how strange this is. That he's looking at this way that no one's there and no one's realizing it. So that story, I think, was all over the place. And then it got to a point where there was an episode where I felt like I'm watching Terminator, any one of the Terminator movies. Like, I'm like, this is stupid. Where is this coming from? This is dumb. This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, what does this have to do with the story? And to this day, I still don't think I clearly understand what they were trying to portray with inside of that particular sequence that made me feel like I'm watching Terminator movies. But, you know, they brought it back to home. And then it leads you to the last final episode, episode 10. And I think that one had more meaning and more substance towards their message. And I get their message is like mental health and anxiety and depression. And I think that's important. That's the kind of the good thing, because there's a lot of younger youth that kind of need to be able to see other people that go through that and how they handle that, and let them know that they're not the only ones. So I appreciate all of that. But I think that there was no emotion and feeling that was justified, and it could be because I don't have anxiety, and I don't suffer from, some of those other things that some of those characters went through. Granted, there are certain things, we're all human. I go through some of those things, but I didn't have that kind of emotional attachment and connection. And inside of the last episode, it will make you cry. There's a very emotional, some emotional things that take place inside of that I think will cause you to start to tear up. Because it's a long ride that they've taken to get to this point, and you've gotten attached to these characters. But I don't think it needed 10 episodes unless they would have written the episodes to where there was the same kind of attachment inside of 1 through 9 that you would have had inside of episode 10. And then I think 10 was just longer than expected. Like, yeah, you've closed a lot of the loopholes, but you're just drawing it on at some point. It's like, okay, here's more of them just mellowing out and saying how much they love each other and blah, 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 blah. Like, is it really necessary? I think that was like an added 25 minutes that just wasn't needed. And I would hate to make all of this about downing it and give it a B- rating, because it still was good. It was something that you could really, watch and be captivated by. There was a lot of back and forth and hiding this and are we going to tell this, and secrecy, I'll say. It was a lot of secrecy and conspiracy surrounding the first 9 episodes, and it was like, oh my god, yeah, we get it, you're hiding, yeah, you have to hide this, yes, we're going to try and rat you out, yes, blah, blah, blah. But it was still good. Like I said, I don't want to down it because then it makes me feel like I have to lower the rating. I still give it a B-. It's worth watching. It's the last season, so why not watch it? If you watch the first three, let's find out how the 4th one ends. So 13 Reasons Why is on Netflix. Check it out. That's all I have for new releases. Let's talk about movies that are must-see. So the movie I'm talking about for movies that are must-see is a movie called Joker. Now, I know probably a lot of people have seen it because it got so many good reviews. But when it first came out, a lot of people kind of downed it, said it wasn't going to be good. It's, anytime you see someone that's portraying the Joker that we know from the DC world with Batman, we're going to say that performance is not going to come close to Heath Ledger's. I had a lot of faith when Jared Leto was playing the Joker, and even then I was just like, it wasn't all that. And he's a method actor, and I had kind of high hopes for him inside of this. When I saw the trailer for this, I was like, this looks so stupid and so bland. It doesn't look like the Joker. It doesn't sound like the Joker. I don't like it at all. I watched the trailer and I was like, you know what, I'll still see it, whatever. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I give the movie an A-. And there's reasons why I down it. There are negative things. Filmatic.